Hey, good morning. I wanted to do another video about project management. One of the things I'm constantly running into as a project manager doing these construction tasks is making sure that you stay on budget. A lot of times it's very easy when the client is telling you certain things after the fact to try to address those things. You want to be able to solve every problem that they have, and sometimes it's not in the scope of work to solve every problem. So if they reach out to you about fixing the bathroom for them, and then they say, hey, well, while you're here, can you do this, and this? If there's no budget for it, then not taking on those things. It's very easy to get inclined to think to do those things and not worry about how they're going to get paid for. And I'm, I guess, in a very unique experience with the role that I'm in because I work for a nonprofit organization. So with that, a lot of people that are reaching out to us, they're reaching out because they're not in a financial position to be able to do these repairs for themselves. So they want us to really do everything in the house possible. But I guess building up that I guess exterior to be able to tell them we can't go beyond the scope of work, and be prepared for that people are going to ask more of you than what you can offer. You have to be able to tell people no in those situations, and it's going to be very uncomfortable to be telling them no because it's going to be a constant ask. So imagine you go and you're working on a project for 2 or 3 months, and every single time you see the homeowner, they're asking, hey, can you do this, and this? And it's always the same list every single day, and you got to tell them no every day and just stick to whatever the scope is. With these projects that we have a set budget. We don't have an infinite flow of money coming in to be able to handle these projects, but it's no different had I been working for a for-profit organization. If the budget on a project is $20,000 and we've already created a scope of work and a contract for the work that needs to be done, then we got to stick to that scope of work. We can't step outside of that unless there's a change order, and then we make the decision to charge them more for that work. But we can't try to fit all of that work into that $20,000 worth of the price tag that we gave somebody initially. Because with that price tag comes in those profit margins or the other miscellaneous expenses that you might have, any delays. You want to account for those type of things. And if you say yes to these other additional tasks that the homeowner is asking you for, or the client, then you risk possibly going over not necessarily the money that you would have made, because maybe you can do all of the work for within that $20,000 budget, but how you plan to allocate those funds, like those profit margins. Now you're reducing those profit margins, which reduces your ability to spend money on marketing, to be able to pay guys for multiple days. So if you're doing additional work now, you might extend the length of a project, and as a result, you're not getting paid on another project because you're not putting that money into marketing, because you're spending the money paying your guy $200, $300 a day. So something to keep in mind is staying on budget, being able to say no when you are working with these clients, knowing what the scope of work is, being very clear on what these things should be, having a contract in place that outlines what task is supposed to be done by the contractors, and then I guess what tasks or responsibilities are in place for the homeowner. And typically their responsibilities are just how they're going to pay you out. So if you're going to get paid in draws of money, so one of the ways that we pay contractors is they get initial deposit to start the project. Then once they do a certain percentage of the project, or if it's a situation where it's permitted work, once we pass the first inspection, then they'll get compensated again. And then once they pass that final inspection, then they'll get compensated for that final payment for them. So it'll be broken into 3 different draws on that project. So that's a way that you can have it, I guess, broken down inside of your contracts as far as the responsibilities. Once you do a certain amount, hey, if I'm working on this bathroom and for the demo, I'm gonna need, say it was a $20,000 project, hey, I'm gonna need $3,000 up front. That's to cover my guys, and that's to cover the cost of me getting a dumpster and getting rid of all the stuff that's going to be inside of the bathroom and ripping everything back to the studs. Once we do that, then we got to go and start doing the cement board or go board inside of the bathroom. We got to get a plumber inside of the walls, change out some of the old plumbing, the sewage lines. So those things, and then you might say, hey, that's $7,000 right there. And then when we finish the work, we went to the rest of the 10. So for a total of 20,000. So that's really a conversation between you and the homeowner. But one thing you always want to keep in mind is what that agreement is, because people, if you have a very vague contract, then people can change. Oh, you said that you were going to work on the bathroom, or oh, you said you were going to work on this, and then they try to add things into that scope of work if you're very vague about the details of a project. So just something I just wanted to I guess the message of the day, and just something to keep in mind.